Hi, everyone who's watching on YouTube. I apologize for the delay. I think we've all kind of learned the value lately of being able to sort of go with the flow and just sort of accept that maybe best laid plans, mice and men, are not going to pan out. We had done some trial runs earlier today through Facebook Live, which are currently not quite working, not letting us through the buffer screen. So hopefully you've found us here on YouTube. I think we're just going to take a moment and I'm going to just introduce, and hopefully everyone finds their way over here. They do wonderful. If they don't, well, we're going to record this for everyone to see tomorrow and post it. So thank you for your patience. So I'd like to just start out by welcoming you to Mata's Greatest Hits Volume 2 viewing party. This is an event that I'm Loren Loiacono, Executive Director of Mata, for those of you who don't know me. I think if you'd asked me 6 weeks ago where I would be at this exact moment, well, I suppose by 8:30 I would no longer be introducing the last concert, but I would be in the middle of the last concert of the 2020 Mata Festival at the New School with our wonderful partners, ICE, International Contemporary Ensemble, our wonderful guest curators, Paul Pinto and Naoka Workman, and all the wonderful musicians and composers who were supposed to be part of that event. Now, while obviously we're disappointed that we can't bring you that show tonight, and nothing we're gonna be able to do tonight's going to be able to, replace the experience of a live concert, I think there is something kind of comforting about the idea that Mata, which has always been such a globally minded organization, is able to do an event, its first ever event that's truly global in scope. Something that everyone, regardless of where you are, if you have an internet connection, you can be part of this event tonight. Maybe not through Facebook, but at least through YouTube. And so thank you for being here as part of this experiment, and hopefully we will be able to, hopefully you're all finding your way here. We're actually going to change up the order tonight a little bit as everyone wanders over. And I'd like to start by actually talking to Paul Pinto, who was going to be one of the guest curators of the event, of the 2020 festival. Paul's piece is a piece that I first heard in 2017, my first year of Mata, and it's a piece that's really stuck with me. So I'd like to welcome Paul. So Paul is not only our guest curator, he's a composer, performer, a founding member of the collectives Verispeed and Thing New York, and I'm really grateful that he can join us tonight. So welcome, Paul. Pause Paul next to audio. So like next to audio. Lots of buffering issues tonight that did not exist this afternoon. Paul, are you with us?
Sure am.
Oh, wonderful.
Or I put on my video or not?
Yeah, please do. I mean,
right.
Hi. So actually, I think it's almost kind of appropriate that we're actually starting with you now, since we've been beset by technical
Zoom anyway.
I know, since we've been beset by technical difficulties. Yeah. I think actually this is something you've been dealing with a lot lately. This is not the only event. The Mata Festival wasn't the only event that had to get postponed this week, but Thing New York was supposed to be doing a 10-year anniversary revival of a DDD this weekend, right?
Yeah. At Spectrum, co-presented by Mata, and we had to shift. We had to change our programming, which it's cool. We're making a new piece out of it, and we'll be presenting it streamed through Zoom and Facebook and YouTube at the end of the week.
And that will be April 24th, 25th, 26th through Thing New York's website, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's
more info on that coming up. But it's called Subtract, so sequel of sorts.
And Subtract, I hope I got the right number of T's. Actually kind of plays off this whole idea of, let's go with the idiosyncrasies of Zoom life.
Yeah, I mean a little bit. It's you know, like ADDDD was also about disconnection. I think we're revisiting that topic in a new lens, and having all the composer performers of Thing kind of write new etudes and scenes and songs that deal with our new reality and are performable from a distance. So take into account lag and dropped calls and glitches in audio and things like that, and also like the wonderful video possibilities that we all had to become kind of experts at. Uh, expert is a sorry, not expert. That we had to become like loving amateurs uh,
as,
with.
as I think we're all kind of wading our way through figuring out how exactly do we adapt to this technology.
Yeah.
I actually want to talk a little bit about the piece we'll be watching tonight, which is mentioned before from the 2017 festival. That was actually my first festival with Mata as an operations associate. And your piece is one that's actually really stuck with me. I think there's a real directness and frankness to it, not just in the language and the emotional content, but also in the musical language that I think is actually, it's very bold and very vulnerable. And I think you pull it off beautifully. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about the piece, the inspiration for it, you know, tell us a little bit
Uh,
about it.
yeah. So Letters from Brown Men is the finale of a piece co-written by Thing and Y back in 2015 called "This Takes Place Close By," which was about our own reflections of privilege and our understanding when Sandy came through our area. Um, so, in our discussions about how do we make a piece that's appropriate for us, even though we came out kind of unscathed, um, and a lot of other people did not, we started to look at the through the lens of historical reflection and privilege and coping and uh, it's interesting. It's like now we're finding ourselves in a similar place where, you know, we're all right. We're still making work. We have supportive partners that are healthy. Our families are pretty good, but we're dealing with a lot of communities that are just not that way. So how do we say something about our experience as a privileged position? And that's always something that I've been very interested in writing about. So I wrote this piece, um, and for this larger work, this takes place close by, um, and it kind of, you know, through the process of like reperforming that work and its finding its footing in the larger theatrical work. A lot of edits were made into the work that actually ended up being really nice edits. So kind of just extracted it from the end of the play and started performing it
I think
by itself.
it's a really interesting process, you know, since I know the work you do with Thing New York is so highly collaborative, and it's almost weird that we're presenting a version of it that's not Thing New York's version, but is this sort of different beast that's sort of Novus New York's interpretation of the work that Thing New York did. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something that you as a composer, I know I can imagine I would have mixed feelings about it, but I think it's a beautiful performance.
I mean, I think like there's nothing weird about someone else performing someone else's music. I think that's the world we live in. I think what's really great about Thing New York is that with them I have developed a performance practice for my music,
Mm.
um, and that develops through having a band that you trust with the material. So, what's interesting is that the score is one thing that we use, but we also use all the people who are experts in that music as resources. And I feel that like Thing and Y is an expert in my music, and can always draw on the recordings and as references. Um, so I think that in that way, it's really special to have other people play this
I,
sort of
I
stuff.
I'd agree, and I think with that, maybe we should give a listen to. I think this is a really stunning performance from the 2017 Mata Festival. This is Novus New York with Jonathan Woody as bass baritone soloist performing Paul Pinto's "Letters from Brown Men."
Dear Dear Jay, no rest, brother, no rest. My home torn up, myself broke as a motherfucker. That in this century I, on the other side of the world, sans hype, sans hope, sans ease, sans soap, should share your species, much less your color or your habits. I, writing in the dark, am yours in hope, love, always.
Letter from CLB, 24 September 1970, Mexico City.
Like the history of non-history, as they say, I am, as you know, continuing a proud tradition of pen and paper. You and I, as we do, can both fantasize about our post-apocalyptic existences, but luckily, I think we're only momentarily there. The truth is, I don't know how to experience this without you. So I guess that's why I'm writing this now, even though I know I'll just hand it to you when you get here, or when I get out.
Letter from A, 15 March, 1925, Posey, Indiana.
Not unlike our son, Christopher, stood like a mountain lion, always on guard, always ready to spar, hat tipped back, eyes glassy and slightly crossed, brows furrowed.
Dear Jay.
Letter from F, 20 January 2010, Port-au-Prince.
And cans full of meat falling from the sky, and the dark arms around me reaching for scraps. So I'll take your money, just so I don't have to hear about it at Easter. But fuck you and fuck your family.
Letter from PL, 22 October 1780, Frigate Junon off the coast of Saint-Pierre, Martinique.
I love you, I love you, I love you. You got that frizzy hair, soft skin, sex in the morning smile. If I could see you for a while.
For a while.
Letter from R, 3 May 2008, Labuda, Myanmar.
I watch the waves with a woman, someone else's woman, in love but torn. Matrimony and anxious, heart beside the grouse, strewn upon the wilks with wisps, whispers in willow bark. Jaded by the sunflower, fern, and foxglove, stunning me to stay, watching the waves.
Letter from BBN, 1 September 1900, Galveston, Texas.
And then I broke myself down with $1, 50 cents and a half.
Letter from S, 25 April 1989, Maniganj, Bangladesh.
Make it habitable. Requires 4, 5, 6 more. K can't be serious. Joke's on him, because I've hidden. Me and FD, that is, we've hidden a few in the back, next to the boiler. Keeping it there for next month. Keeping it there for better times.
Letter from AB, 5 September 2005, New Orleans, Louisiana.
To paper? Because if that's how the bureaucratic two-faced emergency management agency works, I don't have a fucking choice, do I? And I want you to know, it's not like it's that easy getting to a fax machine here, you know? It's not like there's one here. It takes more effort to...
Letter from J, 13 December 1999, Los Corrales, Venezuela.
What's a veteran? 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 What's a veteran?
Letter from VV, 31 July 1975, Jumadian Hanan Province.
He fought like a champ, but messed up real bad. Much more his problem, God rest his soul, since with his aggressive behavior and all. Shame about his mother, though. Poor woman, pale as a ghost, weighed like nothing in the end. Even I could lift her.
Letter from X, 20 September 1887, Jeonju, Hunan Province.
They call it a river of dreams, but it's a river of sorrows to us. To us, the brown men of this particular river region. The river, by whatever name, Mighty River, Riverdance, River to River, Riviera, Rio Grande is a godsend. And you can use that word how you like. But we dig a little on the shores to pull up bones, while those a million years from now, with the privilege of history behind them, pull out alabaster, fixed in azurite, fixed in malachite, fixed in coal.
Letter from GBDDBG from DB, 10 January 1219, Tractor.
Fellow Frisians, it's not like I do this willingly. It's not like I tried to be hated by all of you, but if that's the outcome, then it's fine with me if it's fine with God. Not that God has any say in all this. After all, before his judgment comes the court's judgment, and we all know before the court's judgment comes your own. In your shops and in your stoops, and with your whispers and moans across the table, I warn you again, get down to Burgundy, to Eames, to anywhere else. This takes place next week. This takes place close by. And this is my last public comment on the matter. The rest I will profess in whispers to the deacon and his assistant, but neither the judge, nor the hangman, nor you will hear me whimper or hear me at all. Letter from yourself. Date, place. Dear yourself. Ingrown, old-timey nostalgia will get you every time. It's that sense of beauty among the rubble that wets your eyes. Yeah, there's beauty in the rubble, but not enough to make art from. Probably just enough to make porn from. And I do derive a whole lot of pleasure and satisfaction from watching people building. It reminds me of the good old days. The days with bluegrass on the porch. I'm just shitting myself. I don't know bluegrass. I'm from Queens. There's no bluegrass in Queens. There are porches, though. I know I could build a porch. I just couldn't sell said porch. And I can't promise my friends it's safe to sit in. No, you can't build porches with rotted 2x4s. Better to scavenge, squirrel away, obtain by squatters' rights your necessary I-beams, boards, bolts, and other such particulars needed to construct your own Walden. And put it someplace secret. Someplace with any color grass, I guess. A place without fences, like Dad wanted. The less you have to lose. To live with less is great if it's your choice, Henry. Envy the squatters, and envy the vagabonds. Envy the return-to-earth spiritualists. Envy the river folks, the farmhands, the placaters, the player haters, stingrays, shells on shells on shells of other shells, the natural timber, the unnatural soil, and the supernatural powers of fate. That kind of growth haunts you in the rot of your walls. Its silent partnership wets your eyes, lubricates your nose, sandpapers your throat. The amassed crowd singing that old song, singing, celebrating that they don't own anything, moving through this old grown-over train line. This is a fucking wasteland. Put your goddamn camera away. Remember how you felt walking through it? You didn't feel any better. You didn't feel any gooder. Sincerely yours, yourself. But years ago, some things may have changed for you since then.
So, thank you so much, Paul, for sharing that with us and for being here tonight.
Sure thing. Very happy to be here.
Oh, thank you. And
Todd could join us too.
Oh, yes. Hi. Well, thank you again. And hope you have a great night. And hopefully we'll get to see you at the Real Live Mata 2020 Festival soon.
Yes. I just wanted to say I'm sorry that I had such a pleasure listening to all the submissions for this year. And I really want to apologize to the composers that we couldn't make it happen. I thought the submissions were so beautiful. And I look forward to hearing your music in human context at the next possibility. Tune in this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the Thing NY show.
Yes,
6 p.m.
TTTTTTTT. See you there. Thank you, Paul.
Bye.
Bye. So I think now we're going to move on over, and I'd like to actually invite back one of MATA's former artistic directors from 2015 to 18, winner of the Pulitzer Prize and a Guggenheim Fellow, among many other honors, the one and only Du Yun. So is Du Yun with us now? Du Yun! Hello, we have matching backgrounds. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, I was just commenting on our matching backgrounds.
I was also watching the YouTube link, so I think there's a bit lag between you and I. How are you? I didn't do the thing, but I can't do the.
That's okay. Here, you just need to stand at an angle.
Exactly. So if I could just do it. So great to see you.
It's so great to see you too. I hope that you're doing well, safe and comfortable wherever you are.
Yes, right here at Malta.
Yes, here in our Mata void. So it said the festival would have been happening tonight, but you also had another event that you were supposed to be at tonight with the LA Phil, correct?
Yes.
Well, yes. I only asked because I think, if I'm right, one of the pieces on that program is actually the piece we're about to listen to, Carlos Gutiérrez Quiroga's Jintili, right?
Correct. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you. I think.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there's just I think MATA as an organization that we really take pride not only presenting the music that we really believe in, but also like we take pride of having the MATA being the platform that for them to jumpstart their international careers or their careers that very meaningful to their communities. So Carlos is one of those artists, I think, that really just champion all those spirits that the organization stood for. I remember when he was featured back in 2015 at MATA, his hometown paper in La Paz did a full page about how his work has been featured in New York, and his picture was this big, and which is so great to see. And between 2015 and now, he went on to taking a residency at the DAAD in Germany. He got a commission from the Berlin Philharmonic and chamber thing, and now as we are talking, he is recording in a Bavaria castle with his orchestra, which is the Loren Orchestra, the experimental orchestra of the native that he is part of. So they brought like the whole orchestra there, and it's just so great to see artists doing so well and continue to do amazing things. So, and also I wanted to pick this piece because before everything moved on to cloud, so we were talking about how to bring him together with ensembles from Sweden, right? But he is very particular of the sound that he wants. So we just got together in the Skype, and then the musicians from Sweden, and he really asked them to listen to each other. And by the time that our board, fantastic board, invited him over to New York at the kitchen, he literally sat down and just rehearsal them, and also not just like ask them to hear the sound, but also to say that you have to listen to each other's spirit, because that's the spirit of my ancestor come from. So in that, and we opened the program with his piece, and it was just an amazing magical moment that that everyone is listening, tuning in, and I just feel like in today's time we can really take off all the other noises and listen to each other, and I would love to share that with you. And with all the audience.
Yeah, so I don't have the count up, but I'm being told by text that everyone's made their way over from Facebook. But you mentioned the experimental orchestra, his orchestra that he works with. So it was so important for him. This is not just, they premiered this piece, but this is not just the second time, this is the third time that Mata's presented this. We did 2015 with the Curious Chamber Players, who we'll hear in a moment. Then we revived it again for the first volume of Mata's Greatest Hits with Kaufman Center's Face the Music. And I know both times it was so crucial for Carlos to Skype in and really give that instruction. And I mean, I think it really is a testament how powerful this piece is, that this is one that you keep coming back to. And I think our audience is going to hear why. So
yes, and I feel like, you know, we all need to hear this inside voice, inside sound. The sound is transcend, you know, what we can hear. And it's not, and he doesn't talk about microtones. He doesn't talk about overtones. You know, he's like, you have to, and he get really into the overtones, but just by listening, and he manipulates the things inside the tube, and to create this beautiful, gorgeous things that you will hear later.
Well, I think, why don't we give it a listen now and hear this. So this is Carlos Gutiérrez Quiroga's Jintili. This is the performance from the 2015 Mata Festival by the Curious Chamber Players. So please enjoy. Thank you so much, Duyan, for joining us and for giving us another opportunity to share Carlos's music. I think Duyan is still there. I hope Duyan is still there.
I am here, but seems that, but I am here. Let's just say I am here.
Duyan is here. So I just wanted to say thank you again for joining us. And I hope that you are staying safe, staying healthy, and hopefully.
Too. And I think that I love how what Mata does is to bringing all the different people from different countries and nations and different cultural background together. And in this time and in this actually Mata time or week, and especially right now, all our musicians are really in a very difficult situations, and all the people too. So stay safe. It's gonna be okay. We've been worse before, assure you, but let's continue.
We'll get through it. And
yes, absolutely.
Well,
bye. Bye.
Bye, Duyan. Thank you. All right. So I would like to now actually go way further back, actually, to the 2012 festival. I'd like to welcome Mata's artistic director from 2011 to 2015. He's a Guggenheim Fellow and winner of the Rome Prize, among many other honors. He currently teaches at UMKC. I'd like to welcome Yotam Haber. Thank you for joining us.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm sorry. I feel you've been waiting so long to join us with all the confusion, so I'm glad you're still here with us.
I've been keeping myself busy. It's okay.
I'm glad. Well, Yotam, I'm really glad that you recommended this piece. But this is one that I didn't know, but it's an incredibly stunning piece. Francesco Filidei's Ballata No. 2. So this is not only the oldest performance on the program, it's actually one of the older videos that we have in our Mata archives, actually. And it's actually been really fun to see how Mata's video style has evolved over the years.
It's old school. It's old school.
It's really old school, but it's an amazing performance. I actually wonder, looking back now, your time at Mata 5 to 8 years ago, any reflections from that time, now being removed, your experiences at Mata, favorite memories, anything?
Well, I felt really, really lucky, as I'm sure you do, to be a part of Mata and to feel like you really have a real touch on what's happening in the world in contemporary music. It was a total joy to go into the office and just look at this huge pile of scores that we would get and realize that that there's so many incredible composers in the world, and it was an incredible responsibility to try to whittle down so many great pieces into a festival when there was never enough time to present all that great music. Working with Brad Lubman and Signal Ensemble was a joy. They're such an incredible group, and I was watching the video earlier today and just seeing the mastery that Brad Lubman brings to this score. It's one of those pieces, though, that I think I value so much because there's such a depth of color and activity that's happening in that piece. It's a rich and complex work, but for those composer geeks out there, the notation of that piece is so sublimely clear and simple. It's actually an incredibly easy piece to put together, and so it's one of those pieces where the result is much richer and deeper and more complex than the work that went into it, which I think is a mark of a great piece.
I agree. It's almost like a magic trick that something that seems so simple on the page can come to life in such a vibrant, rich way.
Yeah.
And now this is actually a commission by Mata. So this wasn't a piece that came through the call, but something that was created for Mata back 2012, right?
That's right. I mean, as you know, it's hard enough to get it chosen for the festival, but to get a Mata commission is really tough. And I felt that Filidei's voice is so clear. His intentions in his music, the pieces that he had submitted were just so crystal clear. And I had a feeling that if we commissioned him, he would come up with something that was whimsical and yet serious and rigorous. And in fact, this piece came with a whole box shipped from Italy. I think that's where he was at the time, filled with various bird calls that players have to play. Almost every single player in the ensemble is playing some kind of toy aside from the regular instrument. And this box came with the most ornate and intricate bird calls that I've ever seen. I had no idea such things existed, but if you look at the score for this piece, the trumpet player will play some kind of bird call of a bird that I've never even heard of. So every instrument has some very specific bird, cannot be replaced with any other kind of bird, and it's just a lot of fun.
Now I'm wondering, are those bird calls still living somewhere in the Mata office, or are they still somewhere next? Whenever we're allowed back in the building, now I want to go look for them.
I don't know. It could be. And just so that those of you who are interested, Francesco Filidei is by training an organ player, and is Italian. And the Ballata is an old Ars Nova poetic form, like the Decameron had lots of ballatas in them, so there's kind of a formal idea behind it, but also the ballata became a really important musical form too. So I think form is really important to Filidei, and you can really hear the clarity in that in his formal thinking and in his general thinking in this piece.
It really can. There's such a strong narrative sense to the piece. I think maybe we should, let everyone give a listen to it. But thank you for such a wonderful.
And thanks for having me.
Of course.
This has been a lot of fun.
And so with that, I think let's listen to Francesco Filidei's Ballata No. 2, subtitled Erlkonig, as performed at the 2012 Mata Festival by the Signal Ensemble, conducted by Brad Lubman. So thank you again, Yotam, for joining us and for bringing us, reminding us of this incredible piece.
I love the slowly rising titles that just obliterate the entire ensemble.
I know. It's a really wonderful performance under those. I was the first time I was watching the video, I was so into it, and all of a sudden they just start creeping in. Like I said, I think Mata's video style has developed
sort of like right. That was back in the Bob Wilson super slow motion era.
Well, thank you again, Yotam, and thank you for being a part of this, and hope wherever you are right now, you are safe, healthy, comfortable,
thank you.
Wherever you're writing
thank
this
you.
out.
And thank you for holding down the Mata fort down for us, Loren. We really love what you're doing, and I can't wait for Mata to get back up on its feet and for all of us to get back to work.
It's, I've said it again, I'll say it, the music community is really resilient, and I just know that when we get through this, and even as we're going through this, there's so much wonderful musical activity happening, and I just can't wait to see what else comes once we're on the other side of this. So thank you.
Me too. Thanks, Loren. I'll take care.
You too.
Okay, I'm signing off. Bye.
So I actually want to take a moment now on the topic of looking forward. If you're enjoying what you're hearing this evening and enjoying seeing these videos from Mata's past, I hope you will consider going to www.matafestival.org and donating if you are able to at this time. That way we really want to be able to hit the ground running whenever we are able to be back with our postponed festival. And we also want to be able to keep bringing you virtual programming, live stream while we're waiting for that day to happen, and make sure that we're still able to bring you all of the wonderful music that we love here. So with that, I'd like to actually play one more piece. This is a favorite of mine. Most of these Mata's greatest hits that we've heard so far have been from fairly far in the past, but this is actually a rather recent hit. I guess I think it's something that will endure, but it's actually one of my favorite pieces from last year's festival, 2019, which is Anna-Louise Walton's Small Songs. So these are, as the name implies, there are these 3 miniatures. I think the whole set of 3 of them runs under 4 minutes. And each one of them takes a text by poet James Miller, who wrote these series of poems on Twitter that were constrained by the 140 character limit of Twitter. And I think Anna-Louise really has a real affinity for that sensibility. These pieces are just these very perfect, crystalline, delicate little gems that each just sort of clearly enunciate their idea with just real beautiful attention to instrumental detail and texture and gesture. And I think they're lovely. I'm going to make a point not to speak for longer about the pieces than they actually are. And so with that, I'd like to just share with you one more piece this evening. That's Anna-Louise Walton's Small Songs, performed at the 2019 festival by the Friends of Music, Lucy Fitzgibbon, soprano, and Carl Bettendorf conducting. Please enjoy.
Always blow from green. Green, green. Her eyes, blue and brown and green and blue and brown and green. Shifting indicators of biometrics. They are romantically irrelevant. Side poetry used to be easier. All life is sacred. She said, taking an antibiotic. Yes, I agree. He said, arranging flowers. She swatted a spider. He ate tuna salad. Crowding made physical contact, constant and intimacy lost its appeal. So not space became erotic, the sweetest. Nothing's silence.
Thank you all again for joining us this evening for our first ever Mata live stream viewing party. I want to take one more quick moment to thank all of our guests tonight, Paul Pinto, Du Yun, and Yotam Haber. And I'd like to thank Mata's operations associate, Calvin, who has been our virtual stage manager this evening. And I'd like to thank you all for joining me. I hope you are staying safe wherever you are, and have a good night.